Yes, it's very important to nail the beginning of your draft, but really anybody can go ahead and draft, Christian McCaffrey and Drake London and pick them right at ADP, and they accidentally get 8% of every player and they end up doing okay. But the difference between getting like 100th place and winning like $15 and getting like 3rd place and winning like $5,000 in some of these underdog best ball drafts, that is nailing like the people like Puka Kanua at the end of the thing, Puka Nakua, excuse me, and stuff like that. So we're going to go over the best picks for the wide receiver position in the final round of underdog drafts. Now, first of all, make sure you like and subscribe up. I'm new to the game for fantasy football, so if it helps you out at all, subscribe. And if you want to win, make sure you subscribe as well. If you want to lose, I guess just go ahead and don't subscribe, I suppose, huh? Also, if you do sign up for Underdog, make sure you use somebody's referral code, and who's better than mine. This is just a refer a friend. I'm not sponsoring anything, but go through my link. It's in the description. Click on that description and a pinned comment and use my code SweetPhil. You'll get a deposit match up to $1,000. Now, I just get a little tiny $10 kickback. I can do one draft, big whoop, but it does help you out a ton, and I get a little tiny help right there. So the first one we're going to talk about is actually Andre Yoshivas, and just as a criteria, the final round starts at pick 204, so I'm going to go by picks that are after that. But Andre Yoshivas here for the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, of course, he's got 2 studs ahead of him, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Now, T. Higgins is notorious for getting little dinged up, little banged up, and that's where Yoshivas come in right here. 205, weight 6'3". Pretty good size for a wide receiver, but these measurables are actually better than I even thought they were. 86 on the 40-yard dash, 91st percentile on the speed score coming out of college for his class right there. And this catch radius actually at 96 percentile, also great. Now, he did do a little bit last year, and that's because of the people getting dinged up, whether Jamar Chase missed a game or 2 here or there. T. Higgins missed a few games, but he got only 36 targets, but 500 yards because, man, Joe Cool is absolutely a slinger. Their defense is terrible. They throw it a ton. Now, he just on 36 targets, 700 air yards. That's bananas. But the important thing, 6 touchdowns. Sometimes touchdowns aren't a sticky stat. They kind of regress. But the thing is if you got players on the field, you got Chase Brown coming out of the backfield, you got Jamar Chase screaming down the sidelines, Joe Cool looking at him going, oh, wait a second. Here's some random guy that nobody cares about, Andre Yoshivas. Boom. Nailed him. Touchdown. So I don't really feel that this is going to be that of a quote unquote like unsticky stat as much as some other. Their defense is not any better than it was before. Kind of look right here. Even the first few games right here, 14 points, 16 points. He was a wide receiver 2 coming right out the bat. 2 touchdowns, 1 touchdown. He's just getting touchdowns. He's just getting targeted for those things. And you can see down at the end here, red zone targets. It looks like at least every other game he's getting red zone targets here. So that is something, if they're looking your way, they're looking your way. If he's throwing you the ball, you got a chance. So that's why for this last pick, Andre Yoshivas, especially if you got the Joe Burrow stack, or even if you don't, he could just get you one of those weeks where a no-name guy down at the bottom of your bench gets you 14 points and is almost a wide receiver 2 or is a wide receiver 2. He could definitely do that for you. And like I said, T. Higgins is sort of injury prone. He's just known for that to happen. Speaking of injuries, it's not for this guy once again, but actually the person on his team is actually injured right now. They don't know when he's going to be back. We're talking about Ray McLeod, and more specifically, the wide receiver on there, not Drake London, but we're talking about Darnell Mooney. The coach said he should be back sometime this year. I didn't hear it exactly his tone. Was he joking? I don't know the exact context, but the coach literally said about Darnell Mooney, he should be back sometime this year. And down at the end of the draft here, Ray McLeod 213, he essentially goes undrafted a lot of times is what that ADP means. Some people, sometimes not even drafted. Now, he is pretty solidly cemented as the wide receiver 3 in there. He averaged 8 points a game, but that means he had some games lower and some games higher. And for a final round of best ball, you want some of those spike weeks. He had all this right here at 8 points a game. He had 1 touchdown, but he had 87 targets for almost 700 yards. That's pretty dang impressive. Look at some of the games here, and it's nothing huge spikes because he didn't get a lot of those touchdowns, but he's going to be essentially being the wide receiver 2 since Darnell Mooney is now out. But even when he was wide receiver 3, he had a couple of wide receiver 2 and wide receiver 3 finishes down here in an important part of the season, really getting you into the playoffs, first round of the underdog playoffs, that is, getting those points right there. A few other double-digit points here. And remember, this is his only touchdown right here. That's the only one he got. Now, if he even regresses, gets lucky, trips and falls into the end zone or whatever, scramble play, picks up a fumble and runs it in for a touchdown or something like that, he's automatically just going from this, bumping it up even higher. And with Darnell Mooney at least missing some games, I don't know if he's going to miss half the season, if he's going to miss the first couple of weeks. It's hard to say, really impossible to say at this point. But I don't see him, finishing any worse than this right here, to be perfectly honest. You'd think if him being essentially the starter, they should have Michael Penix should be doing hopefully a little bit better than Kirk Cousins, who's now benched or whatever. So Ray McCloud down at the final pick, definitely a guy I'm looking at. Next up is actually, once again, another wide receiver 2 for their team, but it's not even because of injury. He just naturally is. It's not going to be a high volume team, but you could catch lightning in a bottle. And that is right here with Josh Reynolds. Important to note, the defensive coordinator from the Lions came over and is now coaching the Jets, and they went ahead and poached Josh Reynolds from the Lions. So if I had to guess, the head coach actually likes this guy, and he is highly favored to be the wide receiver 2 behind Garrett Wilson there. Now they do have, I know, Justin Fields throwing the ball. He's not projected for a ton of yards or whatever, but you don't need to have things happen every game. He could have some of those 2 touchdown games, something like that. Here are the other years with the Lions. He had a 5 touchdown one right there. Here he had a few injuries the season before, and we brought in a guy or 2 for wide receiver, so he didn't do nearly as good there. So we can look at the game log, but it's going to be super unimpressive because he went ahead and got knocked out for a good portion there. But here's a 9-point game to start the season, a 13-point game. That's not necessarily winning you, but that could get you into the playoffs, and we're looking at a final round pick. Who knows if something happens to Garrett Wilson? Maybe Josh Reynolds ends up being the number 1 even for the Jets, which isn't like the most prestigious, but Garrett Wilson is going in the 4th or 5th round, and you're in Josh Reynolds, the final pick of the draft. It could be you pick up Justin Fields strictly for his rushing. You can't find yourself a stack anywhere. You go ahead and grab Josh Reynolds, and maybe in the playoffs for the Underdog or whatever, maybe in the Underdog finals, Josh Reynolds has some lucky 3 catches for 65 yards and 2 touchdowns type of game or something like that, or maybe even 100 yards, some lucky game or something like that, and you get your stack with Justin Fields. He could literally be league winner type of situation there, win you thousands of dollars. Speaking of someone else who could win you thousands of dollars, one of the fastest people in the entire league, unfortunately, can never stay healthy, but I'm not quitting on him just yet. I can't quit you. That's Christian Watson. Look at these measurables coming out of college. Oh my gosh. 96 on the 40-yard dash. Speed score, 98th percentile, 94 there for the burst, 97th for catch radius because he's 6'4", 210 pounds essentially. And just to note, this is my guy for one of the guys from a player profile site they're kind of looking at too. He's going to come out and be on the PUP, I believe, or maybe it's IR at the beginning of the season, so he's missing at least 4 weeks. But he's sounding like he's essentially ahead of schedule. We'll check the news and notes super quick and see what they have updated here. It does take them usually a little bit faster or slower to update here on this particular site for the news. But he's on the active, physically unable to perform. But it's said in other places that he is ahead of schedule. He's chomping at the bit. When you come off of these ACLs, you always want to come out, and there is an efficiency dip. But maybe by the end of the season, he's one of the outside wide receivers. And Green Bay does have a lot of wide receiver competition, whether it's Reed, whether it's Golden. They still have Wicks and they have Dobbs. So, but Christian Watson is kind of not what any of those guys are. He's actually a super huge, super fast wide receiver. Actually get a lot of red zone targets too. So last year, this is 15 games and not a lot of yards, but honestly, he was had an ankle injury, and they literally was bringing him back and putting him in games, but only playing him 4 snaps and stuff. And then next week, they'd bring him back again. He'd play 5 or 6 snaps. The next week, they bring him back. He'd play 8 snaps and things like that. I don't even know what was going on. So he played 15 games, but did he really play 15 games? He really did not. So looking at the exact what was going on, not as important. This first year was the crazy one when they did still have Aaron Rodgers, but he had 7 touchdowns in 4 games or something. He was a wide receiver 32, and he played these games, but he wasn't playing until later in the season. They finally put him in. So he essentially got a wide receiver 3 in 5 or 6 games because he had such crazy blow up games. We could jump back to that season. Actually, I want to go ahead and look at it because it's so crazy. When looks like these ones down here when it was 32 points, 21 points, 21 points, 24 points. It was just crazy. I definitely won some DK lineups with him in my lineup there. So last round of the draft, you could have huge upside for the underdog playoffs and maybe even championship types of things. So Christian Watson is one to take under consideration right there. Now, this one is going to be a little bit controversial. I already am aware of this, but so Philadelphia, they were so run heavy last year. Some people are calling for possible regression. Maybe they'll pass just a little bit more instead of giving Saquon Barkley, I don't know, 787.25 rushing carries. But if they do, it's not uncommon for maybe a wide receiver 2 to get hurt. And you could look at the wide receiver 3 for Philly, and it's actually first round draft pick Jahan Dotson, first round from 2022 anyways. He's not even that old. He's 25. They got him for next to nothing, but he is a wide receiver 3 here. So if little old Devontae Smith, what is he, 5'9", like 160 pounds, if he gets dinged up, A.J. Brown, maybe even known to get them calf injuries and stuff, Jahan Dotson might do something. He's kind of fast here at the 86th percentile coming out of college. He's a reasonable size, a little bit bigger, probably between the two. He's not as big as A.J. Brown, not as small as Devontae Smith. But actually, coming down here, he didn't have very many catches or anything like that. So there's not really a ton to look at even when you go to the game log. Not really a whole lot going on. He did have a few here. I don't know what was going on. Oh, this is the last week. 7 catches for 100 yards. There he is, a wide receiver too. So it kind of shows, even though against, I'm sure, some scrub cornerback or whatever, that he can do it. And this is kind of a play. If you're stacking, you need another wide receiver. You already have the quarterback for Philly. It's slipping my name now. Jalen Hurts. There you go. And hey, who are you going to take in the final round? Someone who might bust out, someone who, if an injury happens, they could do something for your team, or somebody, if there is an injury for your team, it could even be a double stack for you. Maybe Jalen Hurts throws 2 touchdowns and they're both bombs to Jahan Dotson at the right time. You get that stack. So it goes from, maybe you might min cash in an underdog to, wow, I just might moved on to the next round of the playoffs or won the whole thing. So you can take a look at Jahan Dotson. So those are the final round type of people you look for. Wide receivers anyways to go ahead and draft. Don't forget, hit the like button and subscribe up before you go. Make sure you subscribe. I need more subscribers on this channel. We got to get it up over 1,000 at least. So thanks for watching. Hopefully you win your underdog drafts.